Sad face, no GPS.
You're right, hey there. So what's up for today? We've had quite a bit of rain. We had about 28 mils yesterday, and I haven't checked the rain gauge this morning, but I'm guessing we're going to have a pretty similar sort of amount because it has been pouring down overnight. So I'll go check the rain gauge in a minute, but that's obviously put me in a pretty positive frame of mind because, you know, it's like money falling out of the sky, really. So what have we got today? A variety of different jobs. Probably first on the agenda is the breeding cows, the mature cows. They need shifting. They've pretty well hammered their block, and they're looking at me like they're pretty hungry. So that means I've got to run them down the road. So first things first, I've got to set up some fences, go get the motorbike, and shift the cows down the road. We've got a little bit of a late start today. Had a bit of a sleep in and did a couple of emails and a few other bits and pieces. So we're sort of kicking in at the crack of 10 o'clock. I've got another couple of phone calls to make. I will have my usual shift breaks and feed out, the same stuff that we do every day. Now I was planning on doing a particular fencing job today where I was tearing all the battens, the droppers off an old fence so we could strain it up and then put the battens back on again and have a stop-proof fence. However, that would involve me standing out in the rain for 3 or 4 hours, and I decided I'm not really in favour of that. So what I'm going to do is I'll probably put the thumper, the post driver, on the back of the tractor again, and we'll go smash some posts into the ground. But yeah, no, I'm good mood today. Got rain, love it. Okay ladies, time to go. Come on! Because we're pretty pressed for feed, when I move the cows today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them into the edge of the road reserve. So between my boundary fence there and the road reserve, I've set up a hot wire, and the cows will graze this little strip of grass. So sort of colloquially we call it the long acre. There's a whole slew of council regulations around what you can do and how you can do it. So the core of it is you can't pose a risk to traffic, so you have to fence the cattle off the road. You have to get them off the road reserve before it's dark. You can't put up any permanent structures. So essentially what that means is if somebody drives off the side of the road and they hit one of my wires, it shouldn't kill anyone, which is pretty straightforward. So that's what we're going to do. This will get us a couple of hours, or sort of half a day's grazing. This strip, it goes for sort of better part of half a kilometre. Now while I'm out here, I thought I'd show you a little toy that I've got. So this machine in my hand, or this device in my hand, is a fault finder. So if I put it on the fence, the small number at the top is the voltage of the fence, and the large number, 0 amps, that's essentially the leakage of the fence. It tells me if I've got a short. So we're sitting at 6 to 6,500 volts, which is good. That'll work. And we're sitting at 0 amps of leakage, which is even better because it means that the fence is going to have plenty of power. Now, this particular fault finder is one of my favourite devices because if you notice the little spike just above the screen there, if I put the wire on there, it reads differently, but what I can do is I can actually use it as a remote. So if we test the fence again, nothing, no volts, no amps. Put it back on the little spike, turn the fence on, and she's back on again.
Just turn on the GPS auto steer so that I can fit. Oh, that's right. Sad face, no GPS. Loose the cables, return.
These little birds are called fantails, or piwaka waka in Te Reo Māori. I really love them. They're cute little birds. They're insectivores, and they become super friendly. So in winter, when you're moving the cattle and you disturb the insects that are living in the grass, they come along and feed on them. A couple of years ago I filmed an albino one, and I was really hoping to see more of them, but hopefully this winter we might see another albino, and if I can film that I'll keep the footage for you. We see a lot of native bird life while we're out moving our cattle, and it's one of the highlights of farming for me. We do a bit of planting and fencing off drains and streams in an attempt to create more habitat for them. Lots of different birds I like, but definitely the Pūwaka Waka is my favourite. This particular area also has heaps and heaps of pūkeko, which I kind of like as well. Pūkeko are another interesting bird, and I'll get some footage of them another day. There's probably 80 to 100 of them. They're about the size of a small chicken, just on this one small block, and they have some pretty interesting lifestyle habits that make them interesting to watch. Anyway, that's the heifers fed.
Wiener bulls fed. Bloody batteries. Little mishap, left the lights on, got a flat battery, didn't have jump cables, had to go to the neighbours to borrow the jump cables, got the jump cables, started the tractor, started the ute, on my way back to take the tractor back to the stack and to drop off the jump cables. Tractor returned to the stack. On the topic of cool gizmos, this is another little gizmo that I've got. This is it's called a Unigizer. They're made by a company called Speedrite, and what they do is they're an electric fence energizer that can run either battery or mains power, but they're just awesome little tools for a farmer like me with lots of scattered blocks. It's hard to get power everywhere. But unfortunately this one needs a slight repair because my delightful cattle have chewed one of the terminals off the power lead. So I'm just going to strip that back and make a temporary repair, just bodge it up and get some power running, and then I actually have some spare power cables for them at home, so I'll bring a new power cable down tomorrow. So we've made our repair. We just bared a little bit of cable off there and wedged it up against the battery terminal with a piece of wood stripped off this handy nearby post, and now she's pumping a little bit of power. 4,200 volts, 4,100 volts, but we do have a little short, so let's see if we can figure out where it is. Short this way. I've walked about 40 or 50 metres down the fence and it's still telling me to carry on following the short. Carry on walking, son. Still a little bit further to walk. Now, I don't need the tester to tell me what's going on here, but if you look, one of these pigtail standards, the wire has been pulled through it and it's cut the insulation, and so it's shorting, and then the standard itself becomes an earth rod. So all I've got to do is replace that standard. So I've replaced that shorting standard with a clean one that's not currently shorting, and we'll have a little test.